Welcome to The Origin of the Pyramid. The origin of the word pyramid is controversial. During the pre-dynastic period, the development of funerary practices. In Upper Egypt, pre-dynastic practices are easier to study. During the three Nagata periods, the term mastaba, meaning massive bench in dialectal Arabic, refers to a form of. The arrangement of the substructure of the mastaba evolved during the course of the Old Kingdom. The 6th dynasty would see art used to its utmost. The entire surface of a mastaba would be covered in scenes of daily life, illustrating the prosperity of those lucky enough to comfortably spend eternity near the pyramid of a pharaoh. The best example of this type of mastaba is the tomb of Mereruka in Saqqara.
Welcome to the Step Pyramid Complex of Djoser. The Step Pyramid is the first monument built of stone, standing. The Step Pyramid Complex is enclosed within a While there are 14 doors, only its eastern door was intended to accommodate the only real entrance into the complex. The corridor is lined with 20 pairs of columns up to 6 meters high, built by stacking stone drums. Chambers are located on either side of the columns and are thought to be chapels representing the provinces of Upper and Lower Egypt. According to some Egyptologists, a polished limestone staircase leads west from the tomb to underground apartments. Some of these. A staircase. Pharaoh Djoser the Sacred. Djoser was associated with the sky god Horus. The funerary complex was built to resemble Djoser's palace, with the stone carved to imitate mud brick, trees, and reeds. In the corner is a temple referred to as T. The Hebsed festival enabled the pharaoh to. Within the complex of Djoser, southeast of the pyramid, is a dedicated space for this essential ritual to be performed by the king even in the afterlife. The Hebsed courtyard is lined with false chapels and equipped with a platform featuring 2 staircases. Located in the courtyard, the 2 pavilions are believed to represent the palaces of Upper and Lower Egypt. Rectangular in shape, the funerary temple is on the north side of the complex, facing the stars where the deceased ruler was believed. The north wall has 2 observation holes. A statue of Djoser is seated on the throne, wearing a mantle and a tripartite wig with a crown known as a Nemes. Representing the king's ka, this statue looks through the observation holes into the courtyard, enabling the king to observe the ceremonies and receive offerings in the afterlife. Welcome to Inside Djoser's Step Pyramid. The architect of the Step Pyramid, Imhotep, was a man of great importance to Pharaoh Djoser. From the design of the pyramid to the elements within the complex itself, Imhotep set out to create something that would immortalize. In addition to the central subterranean palace built for Djoser, 11 wells were dug. Each went to a depth of 33 meters. 2 passages lead underground, and the burial chamber of Djoser is located at the bottom of a 28-meter deep central shaft. According to Egypt, unlike the pharaoh's apartments, there are 2 long rooms running side by side along a north-south axis. The door frames are made of fine limestone and carved with the king's name. As in the south tomb, reliefs are carved into the doorways. These reliefs show the king performing rituals and visiting divine sanctuaries for all eternity. Their interiors are fictive additions made by the team to add to the wonders of the tomb. It is clear from the elaborate detail and scale of the complex that this funerary monument was a technological marvel of its time. Welcome to Sneferu's first pyramid. With the long reign of Sneferu, the first king of the 4th dynasty, while Sneferu's monument started as a 7-stepped, the smooth dressing of the walls did not provide sufficient bonding. As well as the smooth sides, it was the first time a ceremonial pavement was built, leading from the valley to the temple of the pyramid. Another innovation was that of the funerary chamber, which was no longer at the bottom of a well, but rather above ground level. This change signaled the beginning of the 3-bedroom system. Welcome to the Bent Pyramid. After the construction of the Meidum Pyramid failed, Sneferu transferred his residence and though the pyramid also proved unstable and was abandoned, the Bent Pyramid was unique in having 2 separate entrances, one on the northern face and another on the western face. With the Bent Pyramid, architects successfully experimented with a completely new idea: to build the pyramid with a core of huge stones settled on a progressive horizontal design. This way, each construction phase could be completed in a single stage, allowing the architect complete control over every design element. Unfortunately, these precautions did not prevent sagging or cracks in the interior rooms of the pyramid. Sneferu abandoned the monument and began the construction of yet another pyramid. Welcome to the Red Pyramid of Dashur. The Red Pyramid was built 2 kilometers to the north of the Bent Pyramid. It was so named due to the reddish limestone used in its construction. The Red Pyramid reached a height of 105 meters. While the ground level of the Red Pyramid is lower than that of the Bent Pyramid, the descending corridor of the pyramid, which opens to the north, arrives at ground level, where 2 almost identical spectacular chambers with high ceilings are aligned. The annexes of the Red Pyramid consist of a small funerary temple located to the east. A causeway presumably ran due east from the temple but it has yet to be excavated. The Red Pyramid was structurally sound, and once finished, marked a remarkable design milestone. Finally successful in his attempts to build himself a suitable funerary monument, Sneferu knew his future beyond death was assured. Welcome to Pyramids of the Middle Kingdom. During the Middle Kingdom era, the powerful rulers of the 12th dynasty, the plundering of tombs in troubled times prompted the architects of the Middle Kingdom to devise increasingly complicated means of security during construction. As such, while the kings of the 13th dynasty began building their pyramids at Masguna, south of Dashur, then moved on to Fayum and Abydos. The kings of the 17th dynasty, however, satisfied themselves with crowning. It was not until the Nubian pharaohs of the 25th dynasty that kings were once again buried under pyramidal tombs. In fact, today, the area of ancient Nubia, modern Sudan, contains a record number of 220 known pyramids to Egypt's 138. Despite their slow decline in use and quality, pyramids continued to fascinate all and sundry up to the Roman era. They remain to this day a symbol of the religious dedication of the pharaohs and the grandeur of ancient Egypt.
Welcome to an overview of the Giza necropolis. The Giza Plateau is located on the west bank of the Nile and was considered by ancient Egyptians as the domain of the dead. The Giza area, now famous for its 3 pyramids, is part of a wider grouping of funerary complexes. The placement of the Giza monuments, and particularly that of the pyramids, followed a practical yet strict alignment. First, they focused on cardinal points, and then they accounted for the natural geology of the plateau. Welcome to us. Over the centuries, enthusiasts dating from the 4th dynasty. In order to bring polish to the imposing monument, several blocks of limestone were added after the Sphinx, the natural bedrock. Since antiquity, people have always believed there was a hidden tomb deep within. 12 meters long and cut during pharaonic times. While there have been no major discoveries pertaining to the Sphinx of Giza in recent years, what the Sphinx of Giza represented during its construction and how the most plausible hypothesis is based on the research of the German historian Ulrich Harman. During the 1980s, Harman compiled medieval sources written by Arab authors. In doing so, he discovered that the Sphinx was once perceived as a favorable omen, a deity supporting sediment-nurturing floods and crops. Around 1378, a Sufi by the name of Muhammad Sa'im al-Dar could not stand this vision of the monument, and in an iconoclastic act broke the nose of the Sphinx. According to the texts, he was then hanged and burned between the legs of the Sphinx for his crime.
Welcome to Khufu's funerary complex. The Valley Temple was the first architectural component encountered when one entered the funerary complex. It was considered the official entrance of the tomb and mixed the structural. Khufu's causeway ran from the floodplain up to the plateau, linking together the Valley Temple and the Mortuary Temple. A traditional causeway presented itself as a paved. Fragments discovered by archaeologists indicate that the walls in Khufu's causeway, one of the most impressive private cemeteries of Giza, are located east and west of Khufu's pyramid. The eastern cemetery was reserved for members of the royal family, while the western cemetery would. To the east of Khufu's pyramid reside three smaller. The northernmost pyramid was most likely meant for Queen Hetepheres, who is believed to have been Khufu's mother. However, in 1925, her actual tomb was discovered nearby by accident. It was hidden at the bottom of a deep masonry pit in an underground chamber. Within the concealed chamber, Egyptologists. Within the vicinity of Khufu's pyramid, Egyptologists have uncovered 7 boat pits. The 2 southern boat pits, each covered by a roof of huge limestone slabs, were discovered in 1950. The Greek term pyramidion. A few pyramidia have been retrieved from pyramidal complexes. The earliest, found in Dashur. The pyramidia of the pyramids of Giza were never recovered. The reconstitution you see in the game is fictive, incorporating a golden pyramidion bearing inscriptions relevant to Khufu.
Welcome to Secrets of the... Built around 2550 BCE, the Great Pyramid of Giza is considered one of the most iconic structures of Egypt. It is the biggest of the construction of the Great Pyramid with new insights into engineering and ancient. It is interesting to note the Egyptian precisely oriented in order to achieve the shape. Materials for the Great Pyramid consisted of quarried limestone blocks, weighing between 2. It's estimated that it took between 600,000 and 2 million blocks of stone to build the Great Pyramid. While the interior chambers were built with red granite from Aswan, most of the recently discovered over the century. The main entrance of the Great Pyramid is located 17 meters above ground level. The rock attempts to gain entry to the Great Pyramid and uncover its potential secrets continued throughout the centuries. In the 19th century, the belief that another entry existed at the south side resulted in a hole being blasted into the pyramid's.
Welcome to the Great Pyramid of Giza. While the Grand Gallery's purpose is still debated among experts. It may have been intended to align with the stars act as a buffer to protect the king's chamber, or simply to facilitate the transport of the granite blocks used inside the pyramid. Access to the queen's chamber. Though this room is referred a recent scan of the room indicated the presence of an unknown cavity hidden behind the north face of the walls over the descending corridor. Further investigation is still ongoing to ascertain the nature of the anomaly, so as to avoid risking damage to the monument. Khufu's arc. While the space is visually dramatic, the far end of the Grand Gallery leads to a small... For the purposes of the game, the team elected to remove the port. As in the Queen, there is a... Khufu's mummy was never found. It is hoped that as of yet undiscovered hidden rooms and shafts of the pyramid may provide an answer as to its location. Welcome to Jean-Pierre Houdin's Theories. The team wanted to provide players with a sense of exploration and discovery, particularly within the Great Pyramid. As such, while respecting Houdin's hypothesis as to the general layout of the antechambers, the team wanted the contents to enhance the game experience. In regular royal tombs, the antechambers were filled with all the material goods needed by the pharaoh in the afterlife. Houdin theorized that the ascending corridor and the Great Gallery were used by the... With this structure in mind, one can easily assume that the pyramid's entrance would have been connected to the two antechambers. Modern research has revealed that a cavity might be located behind the north face chevrons of the pyramid. As such, the team chose to create this area for the player to... Many theories regarding the construction of the Great Pyramid rely on the usage of external ramp. Houdin's theory states that this internal ramp followed the sides of the pyramid in an ascending spiral pattern. A notch discovered in the... This long corridor was the first section of the ascending internal ramp. Through it, the blocks used to build the Great Pyramid would have been carefully moved upward and then turned at each edge of the pyramid in order to continue their ascent. Though the team only created... According to Houdin, the start of the inner ramp was located at the base of the southeastern face of the pyramid. This location would have been the junction point of the external and internal ramps. Below us, workers would have built the lower part of the pyramid with the external ramp before eventually switching to the internal ramp for the middle and upper sections of the pyramid. At that time in the process, they could have reused the material of the external ramp to fill the center of the pyramid, hauling the stones in through the internal ramp.
Welcome to From the Original. While the original... There is much speculation over the purpose of the well shaft. The subterranean chamber's original purpose remains a mystery. One popular theory is that it was originally meant to be Khufu's burial chamber, but the pharaoh changed his mind, preferring to be buried higher up in the pyramid, which would explain the chamber's unfinished state.
Welcome to Khafre's funerary complex. Since the very beginning of the Fourth Dynasty, Mortuary temples were built adjacent to pyramids. In its standard form, a mortuary temple was divided into two parts. The largest of all such structures, Khafre's mortuary temple, was entirely built with megalithic blocks of... Khufu's direct successor, Jedefre, followed the custom which required each king to establish a new site for their funerary accommodation, and chose Abu Rawash as his last resting place. When the time came to build his own funerary complex, Khafre, also one of Khufu's sons and the successor to Jedefre. Though Khafre's pyramid is smaller than Khufu's, it was cunningly built on a more elevated bedrock layer than the Great Pyramid, making it appear high. Considered a most sacred area, from the reign of Sneferu and onwards, the subsidiary pyramid became a common feature. In mainstream media, within Khafre's subsidiary pyramid, a wooden box containing pieces of cedar was discovered by archaeologists. When reassembled, it turned out to be a shrine mounted on a sled. Just as with the solar barges found around Khufu's pyramid, it seems Khafre's shrine and sled were ritually disposed of after his funeral.
Welcome to Menkaura's funerary complex. The dimensions of Menkaura's pyramid are much less grandiose. However, unlike its predecessors, Menkaura's pyramid contains two sloping passages, both located in the northern side of the structure. The upper one was abandoned during the construction phase, while Menkaura's pyramid complex was unfinished at the time of his death. It was hastily and somewhat shabbily completed by his successor, Shepseskaf. Even so, this funerary structure marks a watershed in the history. Menkaura's causeway was completed in mud brick by the king's successor, whereas the lower part was nothing more than a simple... Three small structures, referred to as Menkaura's Queen's Pyramids, were erected along the southern side of the main pyramid. The easternmost pyramid was built with the traditional rooms and corridors found within a satellite pyramid meant to house the king's Ka. However, a granite sarcophagus was found within, leading to the conclusion that it was used as an actual tomb rather than as a symbolic cenotaph. Drawing on these observations, some assume that this pyramid was first built as a satellite pyramid for the king's Ka, before seeing its purpose change to that of a queen's tomb. Which queen, however, remains a mystery.
Halt! Stay there!
This area is off limits.
What? Going to gut you! I'll call the troops. Give me a hand over here. Oi, what the finish? That was too close. No chance against you. Give me a hand over here. Rouse yourselves! Trevor here! Alarm! Charge! Dear gods, that was too close. Death, Two-Face. You there! Stop! Hey! What? I'll call the troops. Have your guts out. What? There you are! Hey, what? There you are! Time's up, dog! Die, worm! Hey! What? I'll have your guts out! Hey, what? That's it. Die! Hey! What? Halt! Not a family! Hey, over here! Die, worm! To get out of here! Hey! Going to kill you!